Hi, this is Chris Payn, and this is Talking About Rock.
All right, today's guest is a rock pop artist hailing from Southern England. He's the founder and frontman of Colt 45 and Hightown Parade. He now performs with his own band, Chris Payn and the Parade. Here to discuss his latest single, Scream, let's welcome Chris Payn. Chris, how are you, man?
I'm great. How are you? Thanks so much for having me on.
Definitely, man. So tell us a little bit about this latest single. Very cool, man.
Thank you. So this was written quite a few years ago with a friend of mine called Stephen Patel, and he was in a band called Lost Alone, and we wrote a bunch of songs together, kind of like over the lockdown period, and we kind of worked out a way to do it over Zoom like this. And so this is one of the songs that came from that, and it was very hook driven. I came up with the chorus first, and then we built on it. I think at the time I was listening to a lot of the 1975. Have you guys heard of them over there?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I was listening to them a lot, which is quite a stray from what I normally do because I'm more rock than anything. And I just kind of found it hooky. And I just had this kind of when the chorus came in, and took 5 or 10 minutes for us to get the song together, you know.
Yeah, very cool. So let's talk a little bit about your history. Obviously, I was reading, you started performing very young, man. At the age of 8, you started performing?
Yeah, if you don't count all the times in the school playground, yeah, that's my first official performance. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing, definitely. And I guess the big milestone for you came at 12. You performed a solo show at the Royal Albert Hall with a full band and choir. Very, very impressive, man.
Yeah, so that was actually a thing where it wasn't like one of my solo shows. It was I sang a cappella, but all the schools around Dorset, which is kind of the area where I am, and I think maybe some other counties. It's called Dorset Rocks. The concert was called Dorset Rocks, and so out of all the schools in the area, I don't know how many there were, but there were a lot of kids in the choir and orchestra and things like that. It must have been like a 400. Out of 400 kids, and I was picked to sing this a cappella bit, "Let It Be" by the Beatles, and it was just crazy because the whole orchestra had just played the 1812 overture, and it was just all the fireworks were going off around the Royal Albert Hall, and then there's just me in a spotlight singing "Let It Be" in front of all these people. So I remember it.
That sounds like an amazing event, man. I hope you got some footage from that or something. That just sounds amazing.
There's a DVD. There's like a little disc flying around somewhere.
Very cool. So next up, we'll fast forward a little bit. At the age of 19, you're invited to join Heaven's Basement as a frontman for a one-off performance at a Red Bull live event in Europe with over 60,000 people in attendance, man.
Yeah, well, I don't know how many there was in attendance, and it was over the Spielberg racetrack in Austria, and it was really memorable because we had the stage, and then right next to the stage was where the aeroplanes were actually like practicing doing their rounds, so you can just kind of look over and a few hundred, like 50 meters away or something, there's an aeroplane doing twirls. It's absolutely mental. But yeah, I just left my first band, Colt 45, and I was kind of in between and kind of really wanted to get on my own path. And they asked me the guitarist Sid got in touch and asked me to come in for this gig. And we all got on really well. And I wish I had the kind of time to join them when I did. But yeah, they're great guys. And they're now a band called The Cruel Knives. You should check them out.
Very cool, very cool. And next up, you also fronted a what they're calling a super group named the Slacks, featuring Fred Furrier from Guns N' Roses on drums here. Tell us about how that came about. That's another very cool thing happening.
Yeah, so that's a current thing. which I'm so excited about this. So basically, the guitarist called Brett Smith Daniels, who's just been out on tour with the blues legend Walter Trout. He just phoned me up one day. I think I was in France, and he kind of said, "Look, I'm in," because he did a record with Matt Sorum from Guns N' Roses, and he initially asked Matt, and Matt said, "Well, hey, you should check Frank out," and because Frank had just left Guns, and so he kind of had some time in between doing things with the Psychedelic Furs, and he agreed, and then we got Russell Marsden from Band of Skulls, and yeah, basically we did like a few gigs in the UK, and we actually met each other and got in the same room for the first time on the day of the first gig. So we just kind of,
that's how it goes nowadays, right? Everything's done remote, and you don't even have to be in the same room to do mixing or same studios or
No, exactly. But we didn't rehearse. We only kind of talked about what we're going to play. So we did a few of my tunes, a few of the Band of Skulls stuff, some of Brett's stuff, and then some just some classics, a bit of Foreigner, AC/DC. Funnily enough, we didn't play any Guns N' Roses, but it's really exciting. So we actually want to write together, and so we've got some. I think we've got some gigs coming in the UK next February. And then kind of leading up to that, we're kind of passing each other some material, and it's going back and forth, and we might put something together. So who knows where that's going to lead?
Okay, so we might see an album coming out from the Slacks with all this, is what you're saying?
Possibly, yeah, or at least a few releases. It's something that we're talking about. It's something that we want to do. Because we gelled so well together. Brett's an awesome guitarist, Russell's an awesome guitarist, and a great songwriter as well. And he's got this great vibe about him. And our bassist Stefan is Cliff Burton 0.2. He's headbanging and Mr. Muscle Guy. And then there's me and Frank's holding it all down. So it's coming together. It sounds really good. It's almost kind of punk blues power pop.
Interesting combination. So not only that, so you're kind of doing your own thing here now under your own name with a full band and a stripped down acoustic type of format. So that's what you're doing these releases under, right? Yeah.
So basically, the acoustic thing is I don't like it is my day job, right, or night job, whatever you want to call it. So I'm doing a lot of gigs, 3 or 4 a week. And I can kind of slip in my own stuff mixed in with some covers, just all around the UK, different kind of venues. And I've been doing that ever since I was about 10, when I learned to play guitar. My first gig when I was 8, I couldn't even play guitar then. And so I decided, after all these bands that I'd left, to at least have something or some kind of way that I can put my own music out there. Without kind of being boxed into a genre. There's quite a lot of differences between the songs that I've released so far, and particularly with the album that I'm putting together at the moment. So it's a place where I can put all my crazy ideas. And that's where I think about.
Are you kind of still kind of searching for the sound and style that you want? Is that why you're trying to experimenting still a little bit, or do you just like to mix it up?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'll ever stop experimenting. It's more of a case of there's so many paths that I could go down. I have a real struggle to just go down one, and so I'm kind of just think, well, you can mix things together, or you can do all of them at once.
Right. Because I know certain bands, previously, they finally figure out their distinctive style and their sound. Maybe it takes a while, but they usually stick with it, like sure. You hear an AC/DC song, it's AC/DC. It's been the same song for forever, right? But people still love them, Maybe you're mixing it up a little bit more, so like some of the other bands, but some bands you hear them, like you hear Foreigner, it's Foreigner, right? You hear Journey, it's Journey, even though it might be the older singer or the newer one, but
absolutely, yeah. I completely hear what you're saying. I mean, there's also bands like Radiohead who kind of change it up as they go along. Like I'm a massive fan of David Bowie,
Definitely.
And he is an artist
He
who,
reinvented himself like every time, pretty much,
yeah,
right?
absolutely, yeah. But I love that. How many kind of forms and character. It's kind of strange how it comes from. Yeah, some people just like to get in that box and stay there, and that's
Right.
great.
Yeah, I think from a
Really, really
like from
well.
a marketing standpoint or from a record, label standpoint, that's what they want to do. They want to know how, where you fit in what box, how to market you,
For sure,
what's your
yeah.
demographic gonna be, and for them, it's all numbers on a piece of paper so they can figure it out easier. But for the fans, they might want that diversity, right?
Yeah, I don't really care for record companies, I but the people listening to my music and the people coming to my gigs, it's all for them. It's all about them, and I want to show them as many things as possible. I'm an entertainer at heart. I find it hard because if I get into one thing, I know I'm going to change my mind the next day.
So you touched on it a little bit, but I wanted to maybe get into a little bit more your songwriting process of how
Sure.
you do that. I know a lot of people, some people have like a structured process of what they use, and some people are like kind of fly by the seat of their pants. If they get an idea, maybe they just run with it. You know what I mean? Do you have
Yeah.
something that you go through that you use that, or is it just kind of like what your inspiration hits you? Is that kind of how you use it?
Yeah, it kind of I let it happen. It just kind of it's that cliche thing. It just kind of comes from the air or whatever. I mean, specifically, I tend to get hooked in by whatever I'm hearing in my head. Like that's a hook there. So I kind of lead by hooks, and I tend to worry about lyrics and meaning later. Some of the songs that I've got, I've there isn't kind of any real meaning. I'm taking you on the journey towards finding it, and so the song can mean whatever you want. I mean,
Yeah.
look at Bohemian Rhapsody. What does that mean?
Right. Sometimes it's just a fun song to listen to, right? Or a fun song to play or
Yeah,
whatever, right?
I absolutely love music and the way it makes it, different ways it can make you feel, and the different ways to be a conveyor of that is one of my favorite things about doing this. And so yeah, the process itself, I kind of start with the music. When I'm writing with other people, I love bouncing off. I actually prefer writing with other people than I do myself. It's like you don't know whether it's good or not if
Right,
you're by
right. You
yourself. And
can
some
bounce it
people
off
have
of
got that
somebody else.
conviction,
Yeah.
but I'm the kind of person that just kind of needs that validation, I guess. But whatever you want to call it. But yeah, you start with I start with the music and kind of come to the lyrics, and sometimes the meaning is just very obvious, and sometimes it's not. You kind of search a little bit deeper for it. Sometimes a song starts out completely different from the way that it ends up.
Right, right. And
It's
some
all
from a
about
lot
the
of song
journey.
history I've seen, like maybe if you got more than one songwriter in the band, sometimes they mesh the songs together and it comes out to one song. So you never know
Yeah.
what it's going to be like. Yeah, definitely. So you touched a little bit on it, and I wanted to kind of that leads into my next question about the feeling of music and projecting that to the audience. Obviously, the big thing nowadays is AI and how that's crept into every corner of our life, including songwriting. You know what I
Cool.
mean? You can put a sentence or a couple words into an app now, and anyone can write a song, and maybe even a video will be produced with that.
Mm.
What's your thoughts around how this is affecting the music business?
Well, I used to feel bad for trying to come up with lyrics using a dictionary, and or looking at
Or a
what
thesaurus
rhymes.
or something? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But now I don't. You don't even need to do that. I mean, the thing is, for me personally, I can still kind of tell a mile. I mean, although it's very close and it's getting very, very advanced now. Um, I can kind of tell it's AI, and so once you know, or once you learn that something's been done by a computer that's meant to be art, the meaning just drops. You know,
100%. 100%.
I think we as humans, if it, I think everyone feels weird on some level about a song coming out that's been done by a computer, even though the music itself that it's come up with may still be making you feel these emotions. The reality of the fact that it hasn't come from somewhere real is something that just loses all the credibility for it, really. So
Yeah.
Do I see it as a threat? I don't know. I mean, I think I don't see it as a threat because it's never, as far as I'm concerned, it's never going to infringe on my connection with someone else.
Right, right. And I think that's the biggest thing about real music, right? Is creating that feeling, projecting it to your audience, connecting with your audience, and then in a live situation, obviously feeling that come back from them. That's what makes great music, obviously. And you're not going to get that with this artificial generated stuff. And iTunes announced a couple weeks ago they're going to be labeling artificial stuff as such. I'm sure the other platforms will follow suit, but yeah, I just think that's a little crazy. Obviously, I'm a big fan of live music and human created music, and let's hope we see that for a long time to come. All
Yeah,
right.
I mean, I think there's actually going to be a backlash because of the AI coming in. There's going to be even more people trying to do it as real as possible and try and kind of fight back. I think that's
Well, I really hope that's the case because I was just speaking to on a previous interview, and I kind of asked him about today's newer bands and newer music and the audiences that listen to that. They seem to be happy with listening to backing tracks or computer music's on the computer running. They seem to be okay with that during live
mm,
performances. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
I use it.
I don't know why they are, or why that younger
Yeah,
generation
well,
is.
I've used backing tracks for my stuff, but it's backing tracks that I've obviously recorded.
Right.
Um,
Well, it's
I
different.
can't,
Like if you're using a track where you're like you need piano and you don't have a pianist and you
yeah, yeah,
record
yeah,
piano. That's different. But you know what I mean. You don't have that maybe that one musician to do that. That's different. But
yeah.
when there's a musician on stage and he's not really playing,
Oh, okay, yeah, lip
that
syncing, yeah, yeah,
or he's
yeah,
lip syncing or he's whatever you want to call it, shadow playing.
yeah,
We
yeah,
know the artists that are doing this nowadays, but I'm
yeah.
just saying the newer music, it seems to be acceptable to the younger generation, and that kind of scares me.
Yeah. I mean, specifically when you go to see like all these big pop star concerts.
Yeah, like
Um,
Santa Cruz can't play unless they have laptops, I guess.
yeah, yeah, right, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna call them out, but whatever.
Exactly that. I mean, I suppose like there's a thing where people, audience. I mean, it's the same. The audience members are also most of them are just filming them, filming you with their phone.
That's another big thing artists are sick of, right?
Yeah,
Seeing not engaging, but just doing that, right? I understand that, yeah.
yeah. So it's like it's already gonna kind of gone way past the point of yeah. For me personally, I'm a realist, so of course I'm not one of those people who really do take my phone out and stuff like that. But when you see it, it kind of makes you think they're not in it to what the artist is receiving, all the applause, the audience aren't actually kind of there to give them that anymore. Whereas that is kind of what it used to be about. It's like, hey, this is great, and you're creating a vibe, and we're kind of enjoying it, we're all in it together.
Right.
What the audience members seem to be more interested in is then going home and proof that they were there, or a moment that
Right.
they don't want to miss. They don't want to miss
Right.
this
But
moment.
the silly thing is with that, I always think of, right, who's no one's gonna watch that on your Facebook,
Yeah,
like really, maybe two of your friends, right?
yeah, that's it.
Unless you have a show or a podcast and you have an audience and a following, they're gonna, but like if you're just doing it, like maybe a couple people are gonna watch that. So enjoy the
Yeah,
show, man.
that's it. I mean, maybe it's the memories, but people just don't seem to
Yeah.
remember. Memories can last a lifetime. What if you lose a video? What if you lose your phone?
Yeah. Live in the moment a little bit more,
Go in the
right?
moment.
Definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel old saying it. It's weird.
No. So what's coming up for you next? What's our next plans kind of show dates or what's up next for you?
I've got loads and loads of gigs. I mean, so many that I can't remember. The diary is it's quite crazy right now. The 10th of June, I'm playing London so another project that I'm in is a duo with Chris Jagger, and it's kind of a bluesy duo, both of us on acoustics. Sometimes he brings a harmonica, and it's very, very rootsy kind of music. which is brilliant. So that's at the 10th of June at the Cavern in London. And apart from that, I'm recording and having the album mixed bit by bit right now. So
all right, so folks can check out the dates. I think it's chrispayn.com/shows to check out your dates, right?
Yeah, I put a poster of where I am every month.
Very cool, very cool. All right, so we were saying the latest single here from Chris Payn, Scream, very cool, and check his website for upcoming dates. Chris, so good to speak with you today, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me on. Thank you. Cheers.
All right, so that wraps up this episode of Talking About Rock. And to our audience out there, we hope you're doing your part by keeping the torch alive and supporting live music wherever you are.